Hey, what's up guys? UrAvgWarGamer is back with another video of World of Warships. And today's topic is going to be a bit different. It's about carriers and its key issues that wargaming faced for at least 10 years from now. Since the game released around 2015 if I'm not wrong, well, it used to have RTS carriers and wargaming till now still didn't able to manage the balance that they wanted for carriers. The carrier class always been a very controversial but yet the most strongest class in World of Warships. And I do agree that RTS, carriers are a bit weirdly balanced in a way that, you do have, as a surface ship player, a counter in the form of defensive AA fire, right? I want to talk about the history in this video. It's a Nakimov gameplay, which will show you that current CVs are really powerful. But what I want to talk about is pretty simple. The RTS carriers are, they have at least certain features, in which you just, go with multiple squadrons at the same time instead of one squadron, which you get today. You use them and you basically try to set an attack on a single target, and you do also have fighters which can interact with enemy fighters to defend your ships out there. RTS carrier is kind of like that. I haven't played much RTS carriers because, well, I joined this game in 2018, so I was having a very limited understanding of this, but I still played RTS carriers at that time. And what I have felt by playing it, that it was difficult but very rewarding if you know what you're doing, but also very rewarding for surface ships as well. I remember Atlanta used to be an insane AA platform. After CV rework in 2019, it's basically having a mediocre AA with defensive AA fire. Let alone every surface ship in World of Warships. I do believe that after CV rework, the defensive AA fire is kind of not in the best position. It's not really that good. Average players, or maybe below average players, or even sometimes even above average players might have an issue around dealing with defensive AA fire, but still, I'm talking about the current carriers stuff. But you can still manage this defensive AA fire. Like Thunder Pop defensive AA fire, I just easily drop payload and it's kind of get useless. I'm playing Nakimov. Nakimov has one strike method. He didn't able to do much about my planes, even with defensive AA fire, and that's a kind of weird situation of the CV rework, class carriers. But my problem is not that. They did not manage to get the results for RTS CVs, as they said, and then they eventually come up with a CV rework. I think that will they finally manages to do that after 5 years again after CV rework? Like they're again going to post some changes that will reduce the potential of spotting and all that shenanigans. But I want to come back to the topic of RTS carriers because there's one thing that I want to emphasize on. The value that players have given to the ships by buying them, it clearly got diminished or reduced when the CV rework happened. Let me explain a bit what I'm talking about. So for example, I talked about the Atlanta. Amazing AA, like insane. You basically just make a no-fly zone around that aura. Your defensive AA fire is so powerful. I remember that the kit used to be insanely powerful. If you have defensive AA fire, kit used to be like literally insane. I remember it pops defensive AA. Any cruiser that pop defensive AA on right time will be a nightmare to deal for RTS carriers, at least. But then there is a chance that once they pop defensive AA fire, maybe they might trigger it on wrong time. Then an RTS CV player can just go with literally tons of squads. You do have multiple squadrons, and he just obliterate the target. Unlike carrier rework CVs, because now you just do slow damage, but pretty still consistent damage over time, and that is more annoying, I would say, sometimes. I mean, look at that damage that I did to Thunder. I literally just kick his butt by just smashing him for like 23, 24 damage. I don't remember that number, but yeah, you see what happened to the Thunder. But anyways, but then, I mean, RTS carriers will like deliver a devastating blow, but then you also have to understand that there are enemy CV planes, the fighters that can counter your payloads, torpedo bombers and bombers, if you're using them, AP bombers, HE bombers. I mean, there are enemy fighters that will try to protect your ship. Now, there is a form in the form of CV rework, and that is this bubble that you're looking at, patrol fighters. But you know how much that is currently useful in World of Warships. After, CV rework, they introduced the patrol fighters. It's not really that good, isn't it? I mean, I have talked about the particular issues with patrol fighters and fighter consumable on surface ships in general. It's really not that good. But my biggest concern is not that. My biggest concern is if they manages to get another CV rework, which might be 3.0, after this CV rework, which they have introduced in 2019, will they really either nerf the current carriers hard, and then introduce new carriers, to make them shiny and better? Because this is my concern. That's what I think. That's mostly, CV players currently think. I have posted a poll where I asked them that, what do you think about this next to CV rework, where they will try to change the spotting and all that stuff? And a lot of players, at least a couple of players that are basically having subscription of my channel, they say is that they have concern about their ships. They might be getting useless. I mean the carriers might get useless. Like, we do have some premium ships. People have spent some money on it, right? So it is entirely possible that they do the same thing as they have done with Atlanta, Kid, Graf Zeppelin. I'm not talking about only carriers. I mean, Atlanta used to be insanely powerful. Kid used to be insanely powerful defensive air fire. Salem, Des Moines, these all ships, Muscova with defensive air fire, even Zhao with defensive air fire can be very, very proven to be strong. After these changes, is it possible that they might make them better, maybe, or worse? And that's a big question. Maybe they might make carriers like Nakhimov nerf hard, or at least some players who have bought Franklin Delano Roosevelt for steel, they might nerf them as well. Like, this is entirely possible. They maybe, think that we should just wholeheartedly nerf all of those older carriers and then make a room for new carriers in World of Warships. Okay? That might look good for surface players, don't get me wrong, but again, the problem is not that. The problem is that they can do with even surface ships as well. I mean, they marketed their ships, maybe surface ships, they have marketed them, they have sold them, but now they might be on the verge to maybe nerf them, just to, create a problem sort of, and give the players the solution. Maybe there might be carriers that are coming that will be stronger than these current CVs, because they might nerf them hard. It is possible with this carrier rework. I don't know, but I do really want Wargaming to address these issues, but not really make them, convoluted. Hopefully they will not. I do believe that they might finally able to do something about it. But after 10 years, is it still really possible? Is it really possible? Are they really able to figure it out that they have that plan to make the CVs balanced? Because I'm sure they are fundamentally sort of broken. I mean, regardless whatever anyone says, I as a CV player play CVs because they have really the highest game impact in World of Warships. they're having more impact right now, game impact, than destroyers. They're still really powerful. RDS carriers were also really powerful, but then you do have some counters in the form of defensive air, fire by surface ships. Right now, there are not really that hard counters, but let's see what Wargaming does. I hope they will do something better. Now, as you can see here, I'm just doing a lot of damage to Nakhimov because Nakhimov is really strong carrier. Right? It is really strong, but what they will do about this whole situation, about this spotting, I mean, how they're managing to make all of the older CVs still having their unique gameplay intact without nerfing them so hard, and at the same time make game playable and balanced for surface ships. Because it is still very difficult question to answer. No matter what, even me as a CV player, I still believe it's gonna be really hard for Wargaming. So let's hope they do something about it. But I personally believe that they might not be able to get still better either. I mean, and my concern is that players will still going to suffer. I mean, you have to again learn quite a lot of new mechanics as a CV player. Okay, there are so many mechanics for a CV player already if he's playing these rework carriers. Okay, and then there are going to be even more interesting thing. Now, hopefully, they will do something about it better. But if you ask me personally, I think this whole carrier rework might go against both player sides. I mean, it's gonna go against CV players, and it's also gonna go against surface ships in some way. I think that way. I think it's gonna be not a win-win situation. I believe that. But you guys can let me know, because this is a discussion that I want to, put onto the table while just making the video, and want to, give my thoughts. Will they finally able to, make the CVs, better in such a way that they are decent, they are fun to play, which, I mean, they are fun to play, if they don't get me wrong, they are still fun to play, but they are incredibly strong, which surface players does not like that way, in terms of their spotting potential and all that stuff. But still, let's hope the ships behind the islands does have some opportunities to play against these carriers once again. I mean, I don't know. I feel that they might make the skill gap again too high, because if they might give a lot much more room to destroyers with the upcoming changes to spotting, then destroyers, then in general, there are going to be opportunities for destroyers to literally go and snipe carriers. It is entirely possible. I don't want to talk about any of the changes that they have proposed in December, because I'm quite sure that they do have changed quite a bit of that old notes or old draft. Let's hope that they will come up with some interesting idea, and maybe also finally convince me as a very old, CV player, or this current CV player, and Wargaming also convinces me, because I do believe they are very, very strong. They're perhaps a bit too strong, way too strong sometimes. But then, they could have reduced the payload numbers, damage numbers a bit more here and there, but they haven't done that. They instead are going towards the other route, which is, let's just tweak something about spotting in general, which is very much required right now. Like, seriously, it does make life really hard for destroyers and cruisers, light cruisers particularly. So yeah, they do have to do that, but not nerfing older premiums, and then they just solve that issue by introducing new carriers or surface ships that are gonna be stronger for the upcoming CV update version. Because this is what I fear. Okay, I'm happy that they have also done a good job in shotgunning nerfs on submarines and all that stuff. But then they have created a bit of a problem, right? I think that they have created a bit of a problem. For, like, if you are not able to do shotgunning that easy, I'm quite sure there will be submarines later on that will have stealthier torpedo, for example, right? Right now, I mean, I just want to explain about like Gato, because Gato has like not that very good concealment on their torpedoes. They get spotted a bit too far, and you know, you can sort of now dodge them. Sometimes, sure, but still, I would say that these are the things that they have to make them right. If they did not able to do it, well, then it's gonna be problems all over again. Okay, I'm quite sure that there will be some issues that they will come, and they might also make you know, older CB players like us frustrated, or even surface ship players, because they also have to learn quite a lot of things, right? And honestly, I'm not really against surface ship players. Like I know that they have been they are kind of having this insane suffering against carrier, because carrier is really powerful. It is very painful ship to deal with if he has the right position. Like, I mean, you can see clearly here in Nakimov what I'm doing to these all ships out there. I'm making life so hard for them to do anything whatsoever. So yeah, these are the things that hopefully they will manage to do something about. So I believe that they might have the opportunity to change this whole thing, but I think that they might still screw things up a bit. I mean, if they haven't been able to do this in 10 years, what are the chances that they will be able to do it now? Now, I mean, this is my opinion. It is possible that they have a good solution now, finally, but players will suffer for sure. Surface ship player or carrier players, both will suffer for sure. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys understand what I want to talk about. These are the things that I am concerned about, that they might nerf something a bit too hard. Maybe they finally wanted to make surface players happy, and they want to maybe don't care about the older CB players, so they will just straight up give a lot much more edge to surface ships by giving them very strong abilities to protect themselves from carriers. Finally, that is very much possible, but let's see what they do, because that's the question that we will soon find out. So I hope you also like this gameplay of Nakimov. Nakimov is obviously very strong. You can see here, I have no issues whatsoever to deal a lot of damage in this game. Like, literally, you can see here, that's a problem, maybe, but I have played really well as well. So how they will balance every single thing after 10 years is a question that they have to answer. We will find out soon. Let's see what they do. But most of the time they, didn't manage to do that the best way possible. So I hope you like the gameplay, you like the video, and you can see it's a loss, unfortunately, but still, you can see here Nakimov does do insane things. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts? What are your comments? Please let me know down below. What do you want to say? I would love to hear your comments. And thank you guys for watching. And I will catch you into the next one. Peace out.